Welcome to the bold analysis. I am starting this podcast in a very sad note. William Omulele and Brian Onyango, the two sons of a mother in Nyalenda, are dead. The two suffered fractured skull during the Azimio anti-government protests in Kisumu. William passed on Saturday while in ICU, and then on Wednesday, William, then Brian passed on Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, it is too much to bear for the parent. The mother has spoken, very heartbroken. But then we want to compare and look at how the government, which is supposed to help quell the mess, has become too trivial over the police brutality.
Sana nilipata vijana wanapigwa wako nje na vijana wangu watoki nje. Daktari alisema Brian alikuwa na crack kwa skull yake, nileta shida ya kifo yake. Na vile ile alikufa akaniambia ile mshingo ilikuwa imekatika na pia alikuwa na crack kwa skull yake.
Naomba rais penye yako atuonee huruma. Asisifu polisi atomefanya kazi mzuri. Ajaribu kufanya uchunguzi. Na naomba Raila penye yako tafadhali kuanzia saa hii akomesha hiyo maandamano, juu watoto wa watu wataendelea tukupoteza maisha yao.
That is the voice of the mother. She's heartbroken, and as a parent you can think of losing two children. These two boys here were allegedly dragged out of the house during the anti-government protests in Nyalenda and beaten. They had just been there for only some 2 weeks or so. But then Azimio la Umoja will call vigils, will do vigils, lighting candles and even mourning, even doing fundraisers to help the families that are bereaved, while announcing that they are putting a battery of lawyers to look into the killings. But me and you knows very well, when you listen to William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, then it is very clear that the defense of the security apparatus was something intentional. When you compare the voice of that mother and then president coming out and his deputy to defend that and recommend, you kind of even get lost.
Same way we have said everybody must respect the rule of law, and we are asking our security agencies, our law enforcement officers to be thorough, to be firm, and I want to commend our security agencies for being professional in how they have handled all these people.
And I want to say from the alliance here, I want to commend our police officers and IG Kome and the very able leadership and strategic guidance of Professor Kithure Kindiki for the professional manner in which they handled that ugly situation. The policemen never went to anybody's home.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this podcast, I want us to look at this matter and give it another angle. Why is it that the government, or rather Kenya Kwanza, defended the police? Fine. They are paying the police, fine. But 16, Kisumu City, 16 people have lost their lives on anti-government protests. my quick assessment of this, I even realized that those, not all those, are actually from, like, Luo. 16 deaths have occurred. But I'm not seeing any serious attempt even for government to commission some inquiry. And let me go out of my way kidogo for a minute. Do you know, as we speak, the death toll at Shakahola is beyond 300. William Ruto was at the coast, but he never mentioned to do the Shakahola. He never visited that place, and there's nothing he mentioned about Shakahola. No investigation, in short. Londiani. Let's not even go to that. Then you will come to realize that William Ruto has been speaking passionately about taking a firm position about extrajudicial killings, but they seem a bit unmoved, even with the deaths. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Let's try to get it. They don't look moved. 16. If it is supposed to be justified in the public court, then the most honorable thing is for Rigathi Gachagua also to show us the 300 police that have been said are nursing injuries. We should also be seeing those photos. There is a very it's not very easy video to watch of 11 bodies that have been paraded, allegedly died, Kisumu. I think they were seen in Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So, this is the reality. The government has come out and is defending the police, while that defense is intentional. And that is why I want to look at it differently. Why government defended passionately the security apparatus and what that means for the victims. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. I'm so thankful because I've realized the conversion rate, the number of subscribers per video are many. So we are still running 100 subscribers challenge. It's actually paying off. So let's continue pushing this amazing brand. Now, are you within Nairobi and you want to move your items from one place to the other, be it the households or some office furnitures of your treasures? You need a safe and credible company. That is why I am asking you to check out on Top Mark Movers. Top Mark Movers are professional, they are trustworthy, and they are very affordable. Contact them here, 0719 17 43 93. 0719 17 43 93. Top Mark Movers, quality is everything. Let me tell you, the reason why the Kenya Kwanza machinery came out of the woodwork and went on top of the cars and before the microphones to viciously defend the security team that were deployed is because they want to water down any calls for investigation. They don't want to investigate anything on those deaths. And I'll be very open with you. If 16 people have lost their lives in Kisumu and in other places, and the KK machinery is simply saying, blame Raila Odinga for having asked the masses to go to the street. There is that one blame. That's the blame number one. Blame number two, blame the youths that were carrying stones. Blame them for carrying stones. Now, if you've already taken those two positions, number one, Raila called them to the streets, so Raila should be responsible. Number two, they went to the streets with stones. So they should, supposed to be, it's a reward for that. So what are you saying? If you've already taken those two positions, it clearly shows that you are not interested in investigating. And even if civil society organizations or human rights would petition government, even signed public petitions for government to make a commission of inquiry, they've clearly shown their intent. So even if it's to be formed, it will be ineffective. Of course, I know a place where public money is normally gobbled for no reason is an inquiry, especially on when someone has already died. So, and the reason why they don't want to investigate it is because the truth of the matter here is not everything happened straight. There are some very, issues on deployment. What was considered the tribe allegiance or what? There's that. There is also the question of the chain of command. They cannot investigate because I know this is normal. I don't think within the right chain someone will just order that to be done. People don't, that things don't just happen, they are orders. So maybe the chain of command, there's some stray orders that were infiltrated in the chain of command. But that is the intention number one, why they have come out to defend, because they're not going to investigate. Number two, there is a very elaborate scheme to vilify Raila Odinga. And to vilify Raila by using it as a smear campaign. And I'm just asking, which one is, where is the damage? When you vilify Raila, you successfully damage the image of Raila. There have been people making trivial statements like how many cans of blood that you need. You remember those statements. So those statements are supposed to vilify Raila. But between vilifying a leader and honestly probing it, just open what happened. Because I would think this way. If also security apparatus suffered 305, as it is said, allegedly, then I think a very responsible administration should also investigate. Were they militia? You need to think about it that way. You find out, were they militia? So that in any case, there will be another protest, will know what to do. So this issue of the blames is simply to vilify Raila so that you subdue the discussion of police brutality. Number three, there is an elaborate scheme and sadly this has succeeded. William Ruto has succeeded to create the fear amidst the faltering start. There is a fear. Let me say it. If Raila's bodyguard went missing for 2 days, and Raila Odinga and the Azimio team did not come out for nearly 1 week during the anti-government protest, and then Raila is out, Raila is silent, he's not somewhere in the limelight, the bodyguard is missing, and there is something happening in Kisumu like that in his act. Tell me, who will tomorrow think about even protesting? With the kind of information that is coming, that I think Citizen reported 16. They're saying 16. And some civil society organizations are saying 16. So if such a data of 16 is emerging, at 16 people, who will tomorrow even think of protesting? Even Mwalimu, who will think of protesting? There's already a fear. And you know the reason why that fear is going to be created? It has been created. It is created because in the next 3 years, William Ruto has a lot of hurdles and roadblocks. And these roadblocks, for example, with the finance bill, things are going to be tough and very tough. And with the tough and the way I think the intelligence had assessed the ground, Kenyans were ready for sort of a revolution. What they're simply doing here is the protest that was called, the manner of handling the protest was to send a message to Kenyans that don't dare us. Lastly, we have defended the apparatus without thinking about investigation because we want to project a win. We want to show how we are firm and we have managed to neutralize the protests. As in, what we want to, we cannot subject ourselves as if You know, for the KK side, the fact that 16 people have died is not a big issue. The issue here is, the only happiness here is that the protests have now been controlled and no one will think about protests. Because even the parents of those children, you hear them asking Raila, stop it. Myself, I think I'm in this podcast insisting, whether I've also fallen for KK traps, so be it. But this is the truth. The need to end the mass action cannot be underestimated. And if you think that those who stopped mass action are wrong, then yourself come out. Because I have a big problem with the middle class. The middle class are sitting in the comfort of their homes with their fridge full, but then they keep on pushing, it must, you're not going out. We cannot continue to lose lives. As I support Milige Sagesa, we cannot normalize, at least for the first time, we must rethink and get it right. Because my business teacher, Mr. Michael Washika, said, I think in a topic of insurance, that you cannot get a fortune from a misfortune. That is why when you got an accident with your car, I'm using a wrong example. When you have a misfortune with your car, there is no way the insurance can pay you. They have to do assessment. There is no way they can pay you more than the value that is needed. That's why they do a lot of assessments. So that's what I'm saying. It is very wrong and unpragmatic and, let's say, immoral for us to think about running a success story. How do government run a success story after a demonstration that people lost lives in the tune of 20 or 30? How do you say it's a success? I think success would have been, it has been stopped, but no one has lost lives. We've managed to control people. The success will be, we've managed to convince people by our messaging that Mandamano is bad and we are doing the right thing, because that's what the government is supposed to do, to communicate. You've managed to manage the communication, the propaganda in public that things are good and people have left the streets voluntarily. But having ejected people out of the streets through the fear, then you run a success narrative after protest. Give me a break. I don't think that is my bold. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, guys. And this, I know I receive text and calls quite a number, and I cannot still come into. But if you know someone, you're willing, you support, no, close to a family, this. Even if I get a contact, I think I've only got one contact. If I get a contact of someone, I'll always share here so that we help. Because I will have said, as the bold, we are beat of humanity. Thank you.